Okay, we have Yanni here to talk to us about Hornet. He is the designer, and I'm very excited to have him here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm Yanni and my brother Tero living in Mexico and watching right now. Hi Tero.
Hi Tero.
Hopefully everything will go well. So yeah, this is our first published board game.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
We're very excited. We're very excited. It's called Hornet. It's an area majority game where you try to win hives by placing honey into them.
Oh, cute.
Like this.
All right, great.
And whoever wins 3 hives wins the game.
All right.
To produce honey, you need nectar, which grows on the fields where your hornets fly around and collect nectar. So you need nectar to produce honey to win hives. And the game is extremely modular. So as you see, the board is modular. You can construct it every which way.
Oh, nice.
There is a basic setup that instructs you how to do it the first time, but after that, you can really play around with it. There's also this turn board. I'll show it up.
Okay.
Oops.
That's okay.
For a moment. Looks like this. Is it visible? And the idea here is that it tells you how many rounds there are to play before you collect the honey from one of the hives.
Okay.
So here, once you get here, you see how much honey, or who has the most honey in hive A, and they win that hive. And then you move to do a couple of more action rounds. You go to B, you collect that one, and so they're in specific sequence. And as said, if somebody gets 3 hives, the game ends right away. If not, you play until the last hive has been collected, and then you see who has produced the most honey.
Okay.
In those hives. Yeah. And this too is modular. So here too, right now in the basic setup, they're in alphabetical order, the hives.
Oh, sure.
But you can punch them out.
Oh my goodness.
And then you just shuffle them, and you put them in a new order.
That's cool. Check this out. Look how they can change it. You just push these out. Oh, and these come out too.
Those two come out too. So you have a different number of turns between the hives.
And you can decide however you want to do it.
Yeah, you can shuffle. You can put them.
That's a great mechanism. I don't think I've seen any games like that before.
I don't think we've done it either, or anybody else has done it either.
Pop right out.
And there are.
Whoops.
Our publishers were a bit worried whether it's doable, but
it works great.
Yeah. Let me.
Works great.
Yeah. So and it has a big impact on the game on how many turns there are between different hives. So it's every game is very different.
I love it.
Okay. So what do you do on a turn? It's a simultaneous action selection. So every player has
simultaneous action. Awesome.
Set of cards. Why don't you take one?
I take all.
And I'll take another set. And we choose at the same time 1 card.
Okay.
Or actually in a 2-player game you would choose 2, but in a multiplayer game you choose 1 card, and you carry out the action in one of the hives or one of the fields where your hornet is in.
And all of these are different actions. All the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
There's 3 kinds of actions. They're indicated by the colors. So there's yellow cards, which are which you collect nectar with. So as you recall, you need nectar to make honey.
Sure.
With the orange cards, you make honey, or even better, destroy the other player's honey.
Oh. Okay.
Nice. It's actually quite an aggressive game in that sense, because you are able to destroy other players' honey. And with the blue ones, you fly around. So
and you can tell because they are flying around. And you can tell it's aggressive because they're quite muscular.
Yeah, but look, and when you look at their faces, you notice that in the other card, he's even more aggressive, and in the other one, he's kind of taking it easy.
He's more mellow. That's
exactly.
true. Yeah.
And the reason for that is that you can choose whether you want to make it safe, or whether you want to make a more powerful, aggressive move, but that has a risk involved in it. And the risk is that if enough players around the table choose a card from the same category.
Okay.
So let's say in a 4-player game, if 3 players choose a nectar collection card, then those players that chose the risky one, they suffer a penalty.
Ooh, okay.
So you need to figure out what the other players are doing, and exactly, and it's all psychology.
All right.
So for example, with the nectar collection, with the safe one, you get 3 nectars from one of the fields that your hornet is in, or as we like to call them, beepos.
I love it. These pieces, they're so great. I mean, they can be moved around so easily
Yeah.
by the wings. I love it.
And you do need to move around with them too. But yeah, so with the safe nectar collection, you take 3 nectars. But because at the end of every turn you add 1 nectar to each of the fields, at some point you might have, you know, a bunch of them.
Right.
And then you might want to consider the aggressive nectar collection, which lets you take all the nectar that's on the field,
Oh, yeah.
if it works. But if you have too many players playing the same category cards, you suffer the penalty, which is shown on the red star on the card, whereby you have to get rid of 1 of your own honeys from somewhere on the board. You have to take it out.
Yeah, you do.
And you can only take 2 nectars instead of all.
Okay.
So you want to plan ahead when you want to use that card.
Yes.
For the honey collection, for the honey action cards, it's something similar. With the safe card, number 4, and I should say that the numbers indicate the order in which the cards are carried out. So when you reveal them, they're done in the number order, not in a player sequence.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
And the only time when you have if you have the same number several times, then you have this starting player pawn, which indicates who does the action first. And then everybody else in clockwise order. So the safe honey collection, honey action card, you can choose. You either make your own honey or you destroy another player's honey. One of the two. And the basic exchange rate is 2 nectars for 1 honey. So with 2 nectars, you can place 1 of your own honeys, and you can do it up to 8 nectars. So 4 honeys into 1 place. And you can also only do it in a hive where your hornet is in, and only in 1 of them at a time. So even if you could put them both, you have to put them in only 1.
Can't split it up. Yeah.
No, you can't split it up. You can also, instead of paying 2 nectars for getting one honey, you can take a chance. So you can pay just 1 nectar, and you flip 1 of these markers. If it lands on the table, first of all, I have another one here. If it lands up on the table face up, you get to put the honey. If it lands face down, you don't.
Okay.
So you might, and you can even pay 8 nectars and throw 8 times and see how it goes.
Oh yeah. Oh, we had a question for you. I
Okay.
think this is a really good one.
All right.
Why is it called Hornet instead of bees? That's a very good question.
Are you implying that hornets don't produce honey?
That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna get
We think of
cited
bees, so
We do think of bees. One of the reasons is that bee games tend to be children's games.
oh.
So we don't want to give that impression.
Yes.
Because
this is not a. This is
no.
an aggressive.
And if you
game
show the
for-
cover, if you still have it there,
Yes.
I mean, we try to get rid of the kind of the cuteness of it by having the guy with an armor and he's beating up the other bee.
That hornet's getting
exactly
whooped.
Yeah. And if for the biologists out there, there apparently is a hornet in Australia or somewhere which does produce
honey.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, good.
It's not edible by humans, but of course that has nothing to do with the game anyway.
No. Thank you. That was a very good question.
Yeah. So with the aggressive honey card, so with a safe one, you can either make your own or destroy the other players. With the aggressive one, if it succeeds, you switch. So you change another player's honey for your own.
Nice.
And that also costs you 2 nectar per honey.
And very risky if someone else picked it.
Yeah, if somebody else picks it, or the other honey action card, you lose 1 of your own honeys.
Yeah.
And instead of switching, you can only remove. So you still get to do something at least. But instead of, if the situation is like this, if you succeed, you pay 4 nectars, you get rid of those, and you get your own in their place. This looks pretty strong already.
Yes, it does.
If it fails, this is the end result. So you don't get to put your own in their place. And finally, the flying, you can move up to 3 steps. And at that point, it's important to notice that there are these bush fences,
Oh, sure.
which are so tall that even the hornets can't fly above them. So you have to look around.
Oh, so you have to find ways into the areas you want to go, which takes more time.
And there is a basic setup. shown in the rules, looking something like this. And this is basically the format they're in the punch outs. So you can just punch them out and put them next to each other.
Like that.
Yeah, but the board, you know, is modular. You can put them every which way as long as all the fields are connected to each other.
Okay.
And the movement, you can move up to 3 steps. So the basic setup is actually relatively simple. There aren't too long distances. But you know, if you start building something like this, which you know the players are free to build at the beginning any way they want. If you can move only 3 steps, going 1, 2, 3, you're still far off. So that has a big implication on how the game turns out. And the safe and the risky cards, with the safe one, wherever you land, you get to pick 1 Nectar. With the risky one, wherever you land, you get to pick 3 Nectars. But if enough players fly on the same turn, you can still move, but you don't get to pick any Nectar. And you lose 1 of your honeys again.
Right, and you have to work harder to get your honeys. So when you lose them, they're more painful. So it's definitely more aggressive tax, but yeah.
So with the Nectar collection, for example, if you don't get all of them, and you only get 2, and you have to lose 1 honey, it's a ±0 thing, because with 1 honey costs 2 Nectar. So if you lose 1 honey and you get 2 Nectar, it's kind of a misturn, so to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a very fast-paced game. Everybody's doing the action, choosing the actions at the same time. So no analysis paralysis in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. And then when you flip them, then you just resolve them in the order that the cards are.
Yep.
So that's clear. Everybody does this action, does this.
It goes very quickly, and there's only a certain number of turns per game. A 2-3 player game takes half an hour.
That's great.
Even a 5-player game, 1 hour, a bit more maybe at times, but around that time. So it's very easy to get acquainted with, and once you have the basic mechanics in place, at first these symbols might seem a bit
actually
unclear.
But they are very clear.
Good. I'm glad.
Once you explained it, I was like, well, of course that's what that means. So
and after 5-6 rounds, you don't even look at the symbols anymore.
No.
You remember number 2 does this and number 1 does that.
Well, and also it is very clear in the pictures themselves. You can see which Hornet is happy or content, and you can tell which one is more aggressive and not as content. And you can see what they're doing, collecting honey, making, moving.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, it's clear.
Yep.
It's really
we had
well done.
The graphic designer here is the designer of Toscana, the game.
Really?
So
Okay.
the graphic designer has board game experience himself,
yeah,
so
of
he was a lot of help with designing
well,
also.
it is quite nice. Toscana looks really good too. This is Yanni and this is Hornet, and you definitely got to check out this game. It's gorgeous, and I love all the options where you can change the board, changing the score track. Never seen anything like that. Love your, what do you call them again?
Beeples.
Beeples. Okay, that's way cute.
And it's very easy to get a hold of the game, because even though the publisher is lautapeli.fi, which is a Finnish publisher, it's their first original game. So far they've only distributed other people's games. But you don't have to come to Finland to get the game.
No.
Asmodee distributes it in Europe.
Oh, nice.
And Z-Man in the US and in Asia. So
this is great, and this will be.
Those are beeples, right?
Yeah.
Beeples.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This was great.
Thanks.